And on the inside, Big's Belief. But Will You Walk With Me? Set Point hasn't been popped. Any questions? I Don't Get It. Then Turkestan Forest Pump. Monty's Way, Mr. Twist over the last, and Set Point on the stand side. Losing his whip there was one of the riders back in the field, but our leader, Set Point, takes over. To in second, Will You Walk With Me? And then Big's Belief and I Don't Get It, Mr. Twist, Turkestan. But inside the final 150 yards, and Set Point being pushed clear, hands and heels in the hands of Ben Harvey. And Set Point to a rally, and I Don't Get It. Will You Walk With Me, Mr. Twist? But at the line is going to be another winner for Ben Harvey. Set Point scores I Don't Get It. Photo finish, Mr. Twist, Will You Walk?
And coming through strongly on the outside is Binks to join issue almost with Hamasha, who's battling on the inside. Lucky Viv staying on behind those in third and still might play a hand as they come down to the second last flight. It's Binks who's going to lead from Lucky Viv. Hamasha on the inside. Binks jumps it out to the left and makes a slight mistake as they head down towards the final fence. Final flight. Lucky Viv tries now to take advantage in the middle as they head down to the last. It's Lucky Viv and Binks on the outer. Binks much better at it. Lucky Viv on the far side as they race down inside the final 100 yards. It's Lucky Viv on the rail who's responding well. Binks on the stand side. Binks and Lucky Viv. Binks and Lucky Viv put it up to the judge. Hamasha was third. Fourth.
Companion Cottiam over the second last. Favori de Shondu in front, heading down to the final flight from Silver Gazette, and then Dean Aline at the centre of the track. Cottiam next was Sung for My Father, and then Tip from McLindar's Mahler. And How You See D&E, two are breaking clear of the field. Favori de Shondu, Jack Kennedy from Silver Gazette, Mark McDonough, and at the last it's Favori de Shondu over by 2.5 lengths to Silver Gazette, pulling well clear of the remainder and driven out by Jack Kennedy. It's Favori de Shondu defying a year-long absence for trainer Gordon Elliott on the eve of a big weekend for Gordon.
And on the inside, Big's Belief. But Will You Walk With Me? Set Point hasn't been popped. Any questions? I Don't Get It. Then Turkestan Forest Pump. Monty's Way, Mr. Twist over the last, and Set Point on the stand side. Losing his whip there was one of the riders back in the field, but our leader, Set Point, takes over. To in second, Will You Walk With Me? And then Big's Belief and I Don't Get It, Mr. Twist, Turkestan. But inside the final 150 yards, and Set Point being pushed clear, hands and heels in the hands of Ben Harvey. And Set Point to a rally, and I Don't Get It. Will You Walk With Me, Mr. Twist? But at the line is going to be another winner for Ben Harvey. Set Point scores I Don't Get It. Photo finish, Mr. Twist, Will You Walk?
And coming through strongly on the outside is Binks to join issue almost with Hamasha, who's battling on the inside. Lucky Viv staying on behind those in third and still might play a hand as they come down to the second last flight. It's Binks who's going to lead from Lucky Viv. Hamasha on the inside. Binks jumps it out to the left and makes a slight mistake as they head down towards the final fence. Final flight. Lucky Viv tries now to take advantage in the middle as they head down to the last. It's Lucky Viv and Binks on the outer. Binks much better at it. Lucky Viv on the far side as they race down inside the final 100 yards. It's Lucky Viv on the rail who's responding well. Binks on the stand side. Binks and Lucky Viv. Binks and Lucky Viv put it up to the judge. Hamasha was third. Fourth.
Companion Cottiam over the second last. Favori de Shondu in front, heading down to the final flight from Silver Gazette, and then Dean
Yes, thanks, Alex. It looks an ideal opportunity for Mr. Twist to get off. Doesn't look to be a great strength and depth in this race, and he's been placed in 3 of his 8 runs so far. Cracking run in Handicap Company the last day. That was one of 3 runs in Handicap Company. He was only beaten 4 lengths by Set Point. He's franked the form by a win in Tramore. I Don't Get It was second. He went on and won in Limerick on his next start. We'll see him later on in the card. The 4th, Will You Walk With Me, just got beat here yesterday. He'll run later on again here this afternoon. And the 5th, Big's Belief. He bounced out Med All to win. giving James and Matt Smith their first of 2 winners at Sligo early on. First of 2 winners of the week at Sligo early on in the week. There's an interesting one, Alvarez Eclipse. Hard to quantify his pint form, but he got off the mark second time of asking. That was at Grennan back in May time. Declan Queally on the score sheet yesterday with Cabello, of course, who won well, getting the hat-trick up in style. But Mr. Twisted had to step back up and trip. Will definitely play to his strengths here this afternoon. Sets a good standard, should be hard to beat. Dylan's Day is interesting as well, with the blinkers on for the first time. She's a filly that definitely has ability, but is a bit quirky, as we saw in Wexford in her penultimate start. She was basically tailed off at the jump in 2 hurdles, got a couple of reminders, looked like she was going to be pulled up, flew home, wasn't beaten all that far on that occasion behind one of Willie's Sinsa in a unplaced maiden hurdle that day. She's only beaten a half a length. She ran a similar race when beaten around 7 lengths behind Martin Hass's Binks at Tremor the last day, crying out for headgear. They're on today, the blinkers. Hopefully will sharpen her up a bit and help her to travel the early part of the race, which is all important here, although Moon Over Klein didn't travel early on yesterday, won quite snugly. But as I say, there's definitely a race to be won with Dylan's Day. She is quirky. King Cullinan taking the 7 off, and taking the 4 off, and that's definitely one for the short list as well. El Champo, long beaten second on his most recent start. That was a Kilbeggan, 30 lengths second to Phidias on that occasion. More needs to come here this afternoon. Never mind the stranger at David Christie's, won a pint. But as I say, was well beaten in a maiden hurdle in Punchestown, his most recent start. But as I say, it doesn't look to be a whole pile of strength and depth. And in J'adore Chase, that's definitely one that's a bit of upside to it as well. Hung left the last day. Whether that was greenness or not, it was only its second start. I know it's gone the same direction as Down Ryle, but it's open to more improvement.
Eclipse, who shied from the tape as they race up the hill, inconvenienced at the back of the field. Billy Hyde. Up soundly is Mike O'Connor after that early drama. 2 circuits to go. It's Never Mind the Stranger in the lead, followed by El Champo and Mr. Twist, 2 lengths. 2 on the inside is Lucky 2 as they link up with the first of 10 flights. In the lead round the bend is Never Mind the Stranger, followed by Mr. Twist, and third is El Champo, and fourth is Glendar's Mahler. Next is Lucky 2, followed downhill by Dylan's Day. J'adore Shah next, further back in the field to Drumcliff Bay. A couple of lengths to She's Doing Well. After She's Doing Well, approaching the second flight is Alka Jack. Detached is Billy Hyde, who was hampered just as the tapes were released. Heading uphill to flight number 3 in the first race on the second afternoon, the Adair Manor Opportunity Maiden. It's over 2.5. In the lead is Never Mind the Stranger and Ben Harvey, a length in front of Mr. Twist and Niall Moore. Then El Champo, James O'Sullivan, Glendar's Mahler and Mark McDonough come next, and they're followed to the flight in the back straight by Dylan's Day. Lucky 2 next, and then Drumcliff Bay and J'adore Shah. And She's Doing Well, Alka Jack and Billy Hyde. Continuing on to the next flight, which is number 4 at the top of the track, building up a lead. The front-running Never Mind the Stranger has widened the margin to 4 to 5 lengths over Mr. Twist. Disputing the third place, El Champo and Glendar's Mahler. Dylan's Day is followed downhill by Drumcliff Bay. Then Lucky 2, J'adore Shah next, and then She's Doing Well and Alka Jack, and lastly Billy Hyde. Little changes in the order, coming to flight number 5, and the final flight on the circuit coming up. Never Mind the Stranger, pegged back by Mr. Twist, who's now within a length, and then Glendar's Mahler, El Champo and Dylan's Day. Ridden along as Drumcliff Bay, a gap then to J'adore Shah, and then She's Doing Well. Struggling badly is Lucky 2, overtaken by Alka Jack and Billy Hyde as they rise to the winning post. 1 circuit to go. As they pass the halfway stage, it is Never Mind the Stranger continuing in front of Mr. Twist, There's been a handy running second from Flagfall, and then El Champo and Glendar's Mahler. Dillon's Day on their heels, and they're followed by Drumcliff Bay as they go away from the flight, which was their first, number 6 that time. Never Mind the Stranger, clawed in by Mr. Twist, who is now within 3/4 of a length, less than 2 lengths back to El Champo, just in third from Glendar's Mahler. Back marker of the leaders is Dillon's Day, 4 lengths to Drumcliff Bay, and then Jador Shah, 5 lengths to Billy Hyatt. Then She's Doing Well, dropping out is Alka Jack over the 4th last flight. Never Mind the Stranger, yet to be headed. Close in second is Mr. Twist, followed up the far side to the 3rd last flight by Glendar's Mahler, sharing 3rd with El Champo, and then Dillon's Day, both in touch. Jador Shah and Drumcliff Bay breaking clear of the remainder. Heading up to the final 6 furlongs with 3 flights to jump. Never Mind the Stranger now matched by Mr. Twist, a length off them. Glendar's Mahler and El Champo, and then Dillon's Day, Jador Shah, and they're followed by Drumcliff Bay. Heading to the final 5 furlongs with 2 flights to jump. And the Adair Manor Opportunity maiden, Mr. Twist, assumes command, takes over a 1-length lead over Glendar's Mahler, then El Champo, Dillon's Day ridden along, tying up rapidly the early front-running Never Mind the Stranger. Heading down to the final flight, and Glendar's Mahler joins issue with Mr. Twist, moving on 4 in front of Dillon's Day, and then El Champo, who's followed by Drumcliff Bay. 1 flight left to jump. Glendar's Mahler and Mark McDonough on the outside of Mr. Twist and 9 more. 4 lengths back to Dillon's Day and Keane Cullinan in 3rd. The final flight, Mr. Twist in the air with Glendar's Mahler. As they run the final turn for home, then Dillon's Day, El Champo and Drumcliff Bay. As they straighten for the final furlong on the rail, it's Mr. Twist. On the outside, the nose bandit Glendar's Mahler. Trying to gain on them in 3rd is Dillon's Day, racing to the final 100 yards. And Mr. Twist is shaking off Glendar's Mahler and Dillon's Day. Mr. Twist ends a losing run for Niall Moore. And Philip Fenton, Dillon's Day, on the inside, might have snatched the 2nd close home in the opening race, with the 3rd, as they went by, was Glendar's Mahler.
Yes, Mr. Twist has deservedly got off the mark. His 9th time of asking. Had some really good runs in defeat, reverting back into maiden company after his last 3 runs coming in handicap company. Best of those, of course, from 3rd here, over 2 furlongs shorter behind Set Point. The race has worked out well of Gordon Elliott's. Only beaten 4 lengths that day, doing his best work at the end. And Set Point and the runner-up, I Don't Get It, both of them have won. Horse that was 4th of Harry Smith's has come out and finished 2nd yesterday, and the 5th horse, Big's Belief, won well in Sligo on Tuesday afternoon, but he was in a good position throughout, sat 3rd down the inside, and Glendar's Magic, though, has given him a bit of a scare coming down. We're going to have a look at the start here, and there's Alvarez Eclipse. He's just whipped around, he's ducked from the tapes as well. We kind of knew beforehand the way he was led down to the start and all. He was a quirky individual. He's by Double Eclipse, and quite a few of his progeny. Not that we see too many Double Eclipses now, but they were always known to be a little bit quirky, and hence Alvarez Eclipse is obviously following on the family tradition. But pick him up just the point of the bend here, and Niall Moore sticking his left hand right up against the rail, and as I say, this horse has won well, and all he does is stay, really, to be fair to him, and he deserved to get his head in front. Handicapper shouldn't be hard on him. He had a mark of 107 coming into the race. Big run for James Fahey's, of course, Glendar's Mahler as well, who's just given way late on and had shown snippets of form in his couple of runs prior to today. And a big run from Dillon's Day. As I say, she's definitely capable of winning a race. The blinkers today, I know she ran a little bit in snatches, but to be fair, she travelled better than what she has been doing in her races, and doing her best work at the end, without ever threatening to reel in the winner. But to be fair, he deserved to get his head in front, Mr. Twist. He's some good runs in defeat, wins in the colours of Bertie Mannion, and trained by Philip Fenton, and ridden to victory by Niall Moore. Guy who impressed me last season, Niall Moore, does very little wrong, used his head there today, rode this horse like the best horse in the race. Hugged that rail, had a stick in his right hand, wasn't giving anyone the opportunity to get up his inside, and as I said, this horse has shown a good attitude to get off the mark. It wasn't the strongest of maiden hurdles. There's our winning owner, Bert